Hello, 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 and welcome to episode 22 of the Cooler Guild. I'm your host, Coop, and joined with me, as always, is my co-host, Van.
Hello.
We are recording on Wednesday, November 6th, 2024. On today's episode, we'll be discussing Reign's final match of the season versus Orlando Pride. And we'll also do a quick dive into the NWSL playoff picture, since we are at the end of the season, or at least us.
Yeah. End of our season. Thank God.
But first, some housekeeping. The Cooler Guild is part of the Sounder at Heart podcast network. You can either listen to us on the public feed, or if you're a Sounder at Heart subscriber, on our private unified feed with the other podcasts on the network. If you'd like to become a subscriber, just visit our page at sounderatheart.com/the Cooler Guild. New subscribers get 10% off the normal rate, and you'll help support everything we're doing. You know what? I think this might be the first episode where I'm just like, let's just dive straight into it, because everything else going on fucking blows.
Yeah. It's honestly really hard to actually talk about anything that's not the doom of our current political state here. So,
Yeah. I want this episode to maybe serve people as like some sort of I don't know, moment
like
for
a reprieve.
Yeah, let's like try to at least maybe just focus on something else for, I don't know, 45 minutes to an hour probably will be this episode. But it's also hard to not acknowledge it because, I mean, we're both people who might be affected by some of the policies that could be coming out with this new administration, and that's pretty scary.
Yeah. And I think, being a women's soccer podcast, it's hard not to acknowledge the fact that women are going to suffer.
Yep.
And it's honestly terrifying. So it's hopefully this can be a little escape for us.
At least
for this, talking about
short
this.
amount of time. I mean, we don't want to like pretend it's not happening, but I also think it's important to take care of yourselves and also find, I don't know, maybe joy. Maybe not complete joy because the rain suck, but but at least find a moment for yourself to just, I don't know, kind of tune some of the bad out for at least a moment. You don't want to stay in that dark place.
Yeah.
At least not forever. I think there's times where we need to be in it and maybe figure out how we cannot get there again, but it's not going to be good for quite a while. So
yeah, I mean, it's a tough spot to be in, but it's nothing you or I can change right now. Yeah. And so I think it's good to, we enjoy doing this and we enjoy talking about the rain and we love the team. And so we'll continue to, keep bringing that coverage no matter what the world looks like.
That's the very least we can do. I don't know. It's an extra element of like, we have a player like Quinn in our team, and I can't help but think about people like them and other non-binary, trans, gender non-conforming, queer people. So I don't know. It's really hard right now.
Yeah.
But we'll move on into the last match of the season.
Yeah, we had one last game. The Reign took on Shield winners Orlando Pride on Saturday, November 2nd. Orlando got ahead early with Ali Watt scoring in the 9th minute, but Jordyn Huitema quickly countered to tie the game a minute later. Orlando scored in the 25th minute and were up 2-1 at half. They increased their lead in the 57th minute with an inevitable Marta goal. The Reign fought back and narrowed the lead with an excellent header from Maddie Mercado in the 84th minute, but they were unable to find the tying goal, ending up losing the last match of the season, 2-3.
And it was away.
It was away at Orlando.
Orlando's been like pretty solid at home.
Yeah. For me, like when watching it, I was really confused why there were so few people at that game.
They have often worse attendance numbers than, not that we're doing badly, but for a Shield winning team, like if our team was this good right now.
You have Marta.
Yeah.
You have Barbara Banda.
Yeah.
You have generational talent on this team. You should be selling out that stadium every game.
Especially as Shield winners, especially as a team that is as elite as they are.
Yeah.
But also a lot of bad stuff's going on in Florida.
Yeah.
Maybe other priorities.
Can't ignore that. Yeah. There was also a college football game on at the same time at home in Orlando. Like I think it was a UCF game. Somebody mentioned. So it was the final match of the season. I was able to watch the whole game live, and honestly, like the team didn't look terrible. Montesir started again, and she looked really good. They were able to connect in the midfield. They looked dangerous. They had multiple moments where they were connecting 3-4 passes and like beating the line to get through. So they didn't look bad.
Mm-hmm.
So that was cool to see. It wasn't great though, because Barbara Banda scored in the second minute. I was like, oh, great. Here we go. But with the replay, they called it back because she was offside.
It was pretty obvious too.
But she Cruyffed it, right?
Yeah.
Into the back of the net. It was pretty insane. And luckily she was offside. So that one was called back. So, but yeah, it could have been a lot worse. And, you know, it sucks that like we seem to always go behind early.
Yeah.
But Jordyn Huitema was able to score this game, which is something we've
finally. The floodgates, are they open? I don't know. We're going to have to wait a few months.
It was the last game. I know. So I was like, oh, crap.
If this could have come like 4 games ago, that would have been great.
Yeah.
But it was a good goal. It was a really good goal.
Yeah. That's a hard cross to connect with.
Mm-hmm.
And she was able to get on it and place it. So
good distribution from Dickey. You know, that was nice to see. And everyone was kind of ready for it too. I don't know. That was like, okay. And then we had the final quality that we needed at the end of it.
I know. We're still lacking that little bit of but we were able to find it a couple times this game, which was refreshing.
So this is a noodle set I put down. That was King's first assist for the season on that goal.
Yeah.
Don't think that's a good stat to have for your last game of the season. It was a really good cross. Is that something we should have been trying a little bit more throughout the season? I don't know.
It's hard when it's somebody that's played that many minutes.
Yeah.
And hasn't really contributed much.
Yeah, it could have been tried sooner. Like there's plenty of opportunities to try that.
Yeah.
When I think of King, it's usually she's the one running up the field with the ball at her feet and then trying to make a cut, but not necessarily laning crosses quite like that one was. But it was also a quick play with Claudia's distribution, so I feel like she was just a little bit more on it than maybe we've seen all season.
I think it helps too. King wasn't getting so sucked into the middle because the midfield with Montesir in there had more, was giving more support. So she's able to stay wider because our midfield is present. Yeah,
that makes sense. A lot of changes in that midfield. Although this was the first time we've seen a repeated lineup.
Why did we have to do this the last game of the season? I wanted to keep it going.
We probably would have been the first team ever, my guess. I'm not for certain, but my guess is if we would have completed this game with a different lineup, there's probably a pretty good chance we would have been the first team to ever finish an entire season with a different lineup every single match.
I want to have something to take out of this season. It could have been that.
It could have been that. I don't know if that's something to be happy about, but it would have been something interesting.
It would have been something.
We also got Maddie Mercado's first NWSL regular season goal.
It was sick too.
That was a really good header.
Yeah. Well, and she kind of, it's hard because it's a little bit behind her. And so she had to kind of go up and time it correctly and was able to place it back where it came from and put it in the back of the net. Great goal.
Super great. Her contract is up at the end of the season. Do you think that goal maybe got an extension?
I don't think it doesn't help. That's a terrible double negative I shouldn't use. I think it helps her.
I love a double negative, to be honest.
I think it definitely helps. She hasn't gotten much time. And so if you're able to contribute something in a very limited amount of time, I think that shows that you can be an impact player.
I mean, she subbed on and made a difference right away, which is not something we've had.
Right.
So yes, let's see if she's got more.
I think it's worth it. I do think it's interesting that 17 of our 26 games were decided by one goal. That speaks to 2 different points. One, that we need to score more.
At least one more to get points.
Yeah, and also stop letting goals in.
Yeah.
It's like the very basic idea of soccer. Who scores more goals, right? And we just haven't scored enough. And we're letting in dumb goals.
We did talk about this in the last match. What does this say to us? I think it says that we're close to kind of being competitive.
We're just lacking that little bit of quality.
Exactly. It gets back to the point Laura's been making all season.
Yeah.
Which I guess I'm glad, like, this is an Orlando team that is historic. Like, this is going to go down as, like, probably one of the best teams historically in NWSL history.
Yeah, in regular season.
I mean, they broke the record for points. We'll see what happens in playoffs and stuff. I don't know if they've got it to win the whole thing. That's a big ask to win both. And I don't know that I'm seeing that level of eliteness that they need to have going into the playoffs, but they could do it. But if they don't do that, that does kind of dim this season for them, I would say. But there's no arguing. We played them in the regular season. So, we lost to them in their best way that they play.
Yeah.
So I don't think I can be too harsh on the result, given what we were going up against.
Yeah, and I thought it would actually be a lot worse. I was
for sure.
pleasantly surprised that we were able to score twice.
Yeah. 2 goals too.
Yeah, in the run of
and
play.
not penalties. Yeah, they weren't penalties.
But yeah, Orlando has conceded 5 goals in their last 2 matches. And before that, they had only allowed 2 goals in their previous 10 regular season matches. So they're kind of bending, but I don't know if they're gonna break.
Mm-hmm.
I think the postseason will be interesting for them. See if they can keep it going.
They're gonna need to find. I feel like they're at a point where they kind of need to find like a weird, not like a total reset, but just like kind of like regroup and figure out how they get back to that like we're gonna fuck you up. Like there's no way to stop us kind of mentality.
Yeah.
Because it seems like that. I don't know if I saw that when we played them.
It's also hard when you're already, locked in as the number 1 seed, right? And
Totally.
you're trying to rest players. You're trying to navigate what the next couple of weeks are going to look like for your team. And you got players coming from international duty. You've got all sorts of things going on. So I don't know if it's appropriate to judge them on the last couple games of their season, especially when they, lost to Portland, but they didn't even play their best players for 75 minutes.
And it was in Portland.
Yeah. So
should we roll into the positives from this match?
Yeah, let's do it. It's over.
Season is over. We can kind of move on from and forget about what happened here this season.
I don't want to forget about it. I mean, it's been terrible. It's been rough. Like, this is something that you look back on and say, okay, it used to be worse, and we're going to move on. And hopefully there's going to be a lot of movement in the off season. Hopefully we'll be able to bring some new, fresh goal scoring people in.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that this chapter, we can turn the page on this,
Absolutely. There was a lot of things that played into why the season was bad.
And I'm glad that people started acknowledging it towards the end. I heard it on the broadcasts. I heard it from players. There was always that idea of a rebuild or something like that, but people weren't really talking about it.
No.
And in the last game, Leanne Sanderson, right, was announcing or on the broadcast, and yeah, she mentioned it. She said there was the sale, there was we're kind of in this purgatory for a while, and so we weren't able to do a lot of the things that Laura Harvey would have needed to do to have a winning season. So I'm glad that ended up being acknowledged.
She said, I don't think I had heard this before. Obviously it could have been like implied if you just thought about how sales of sports teams go in this country, but it sounded like the players weren't even 100% sure that the team was going to stay in Seattle.
Yeah, that was interesting to hear.
Yeah, that's got to weigh so heavy on you, especially for people, because like we're one of those teams that's had players around for a really long time, and those are like your leaders of the team, and they're not sure what's going to happen, and that can't help the mentality of everything happening around there.
Yeah.
It worked out, I would say, mostly in the end. And as far as we're keeping our team where it should be, and we've gone back to good branding and all of that stuff, but to bounce out of that and everything that came with the sale and how long it took, that doesn't get fixed in a few months.
Yeah. Or with a single window of being able to sign people.
No, absolutely not.
They definitely need to go into like a reset mode where let's learn from, this season, but also just keep pushing forward.
Second positive thing that I had listed, we were not last place. Thank God. The crazy thing is, I mean, I just thank you players for making sure we beat Houston, because we were not last place just by 3 points over Houston. So had we not won that game, oh man, this would be a shitty fucking episode, a shittier episode than it's kind of feeling.
Yeah. So we were overall better than one team. So that's something.
How far? What's the team above us? Yeah, they're like one rate above us. Oh no! Okay, and then let me just point out the team right above us in the standings got 3 points docked from them. That's not a good season, but we weren't last place, so take the win. I'll take that win.
I'll take it. We have to talk about the fact that we've been on the train of Jordyn Huitema could be better.
She knows it.
Yeah, and I was really happy to see her score.
Yeah.
I felt a bit vindicated.
I
At
mean,
the
I
same
think
time, should she have scored more? Yes.
yeah, I was like, you gotta wait. I think we gotta get a few games in the next season before you're fully vindicated. Because
Yeah, for sure.
she definitely let us end on a high note with like the possibility of like, yes, she's capable of good things. And that's nice to know because I feel like a lot of people were just like, I don't even know if she can do this anymore. Like maybe this isn't gonna work. And I'm just like, we haven't really. She hasn't been given a fair chance. If you go watch the post match presser and stuff, like first of all, when she started a professional career over here, there's like COVID, there was her injuries with her back, and like she had another like head injury problem, like off and on, it seemed like. And she's super young. She moved from like France to over here. Like this is happening when she's what, like 19 years old?
Yeah.
That's like a lot to have going on for you. Yes, she should have done better this season, but I like the way she's been talking in these press conferences because to me I see a lot of maturity in her. I think she's starting to feel like her role here is something that she really values, and I think she wants to prove people who have doubted her or maybe think that she's not as good as, I don't know, she hasn't lived up to those expectations for sure, and I think she wants to make sure that she proves those people wrong next year.
Yeah. It seems to me that she really cares about the team.
Yeah.
And about her role. And she's really stepping up to be one of the leaders on the team, which is crazy for, a 23-year-old.
Yeah.
So I think moving forward with the team, I think that she's definitely an asset.
Yeah, I think a season like this can do a lot for a player like her. And I'm excited about it. I think a lot of people don't feel that way, but good news, I'm not one of those people. I also like that the goal was like it was a quick response, right?
It's literally like the next minute. And you could tell what it meant,
Yeah.
You could see it in the celebration.
Yeah, I was like, she had a pretty good celly on that. Any other positives you got?
I mean, other than what I said earlier, but the team looked more connected. The team looked more productive in the final third. So that was nice to see. It didn't necessarily translate as much as I wanted, but what can you do? You've had crap season. You're playing the top team in the league. It's hard.
Yeah, guess we'll roll into the negatives then. What was the second goal was
the second goal was the one where it was kind of like a mashup in the box in the 6, and somebody just got absolutely bodied off the ball.
Oh, that was the possible foul in the box.
It should have been, but it wasn't called. But again, you can't win games if you don't score more goals.
Mm-hmm.
If that goal would have been correctly called back, we would have tied the game, but you can't rely on things like that.
Yeah, the third goal was disappointing from Athens because she kind of just watched Marta from what it looked like to me, but at the same time, would I have also just watched Marta? Like, because I feel like she was trying to make sure she wasn't gonna get tripped up by her.
Yeah.
So she was really trying to like focus on her a lot, but I just feel like her body positioning didn't set her up for success at the end of it because Marta eventually just Marta'd.
Yeah. It's kind of inevitable. I remember seeing Marta when they were playing at Cheney.
Yeah.
And I remember I was sitting in the supporters section. She came up to sign autographs and I was just like in awe.
Starstruck.
This tiny woman with like heavy red lipstick.
I know.
Just an absolute beast. And I was just like, so I can't fault anyone for not doing anything.
Yeah, and like, is this because Mar does not play for the Brazilian national team anymore? I don't know what her situation is with Orlando. I feel like if they win the whole thing, she probably won't be back. But it's Marta, so who fucking knows?
I know that you and I have been kind of secret Orlando supporters.
Yes. Well,
in our weird way,
we're fans.
They have a lot of players that like Ali Watt, right? Who were Marine players. Her, Angelina,
Celia.
Mm-hmm. We didn't really want to see go, and they left. And so it's been nice to follow them. I really hope that they do well in the off season or in the postseason. I will be if I need to root for another team, I think I would want Orlando to win it. I want to see Marta win a NWSL championship.
Yeah, especially now that the trophy doesn't look like dog shit. So that's its own thing. But for following the league as long as we have, which is since it started, we've seen how bad Orlando has been year after year after year after year. Even though it seems like they have so many good pieces, Marta's been there through all of it too. Just
Yeah.
like, another element to this. I just think it's such a good story. They've had all this history of just being so bad, and they can go and get the shield in this like ridiculous fashion. And if they can finish it up with the trophy, don't think it's easy to do. The turnaround that they've had is very impressive, but no doubt we're all just kind of waiting to see if they can actually get the big one.
Yeah.
I would like it. I would like to see it. I think there's no one else in the batch of teams left that I'm like, that'd be fine. It's certainly
Yeah.
not Gotham, and it's certainly not the Thorns.
God no. Yeah, if I had to root for another team, it would be Orlando. Did you get anything for the presser?
I watched both wrestlers. It's kind of like, I mean, the season's over, so like, what are we supposed to take out of it? I feel like they had Lasco and Jordyn Huitema on the presser, and they kind of just talked about like wanting to make sure that they're a team that has resiliency. They didn't want to go into this match playing a team like Orlando, and making it look like they just didn't care. And I think that was obvious to me from what I watched. This team has a lot of pride, and I love watching this team, and I love seeing that players still care and want to give us something to be excited about, even while we're down.
Yeah, that's the thing. You can only be as invested as the players are. And if you don't feel that the players care, or if they're just going out there to, earn their $70,000 paycheck.
70?
Yeah.
It's some of them get 70, but it is not many.
It is, as a fan, being on this side, it is nice to know that they care. And it shows. You could see
Yeah.
it, when they're celebrating, when they're scoring goals, when they're complaining,
That was something I took out of it, because Latsko's obviously talking about having to take up a new position just kind of out of nowhere.
Yeah, she was put through the ringer.
Yeah, and she was like, I'm starting to get it," and she was rewarded with that assist on the second goal. And I think that was kind of cool to see someone. I mean, we're both huge Latsko fans. Obviously, we were always rooting for her, and kind of, I feel like, knew that she had it in her to kind of be that player that can kind of float around wherever the team needs her to some extent. I think she's going to have to take up that role again come next season, at least for a little while, depending on what happens with Huerta. I don't know. I love Latsko. I feel like we need to sign her to like a lifelong extension or something, because there's something about her attitude that is just so like captivating, and it like you just kind of, whatever she's feeling, I feel like I kind of just like latch onto it as well. And that's gotta be so nice for players to have someone like that around.
Well, there's something about her when you watch the team play, and even when we were in the really deep delves of like being awful this season, she would come on and just work her ass off.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, someone cares. Oh,
Yeah.
She's trying. And that, I feel like that kind of rubs off on everyone else around her, right? You can't just dink around when somebody is literally working themselves to the bone right next to you. So I please sign her to like a 8-year contract or something.
Yeah, I'd be fine with that.
Thank you for listening to the Sounder at Heart Podcast Network, which now includes No Sarietes, Lobbing Scorchers, and the Cooler Guild. We've been independent since August of 2023, but need your support to make sure it continues. Although this podcast is free, it's only made possible by your continued support. Memberships start as low as $25 a year, which not only helps make podcasts like this one happen, but also gets you access to everything we produce. If you're able to support us at higher levels, starting at $75 a year, you gain access to a host of other perks, most notably entry into our members-only Discord, where the smartest, funniest, and most engaged commenters share their thoughts and ideas. To find out more, just visit sounderatheart.com and click the subscribe button in the top right corner. Thanks for listening.
Do you have anything else from the match you want to cover?
No.
All right. This is time for our final Cooler Player of the Match for the season.
Last one.
The Cooler Player of the Match is brought to you by the Doctor's Office, a great little 12-seat bar on Capitol Hill. The owner is a big fan of the rain and is proud to be our very first sponsor.
So our final Cooler Player of the Match brought to you by the Doctor's Office. Who are we going to give it to?
It's the friends that we made along the way. And if you want to like elevate that, it's it's the also the Sounder Heart subscribers that have kind of been helping us, I don't know, keep doing this a little bit. I think I don't know, it's added some fun for me doing this. And then I feel like without the community, what's the point?
Yeah. I mean, we'd still be talking about the team, but
it'd be a lot like sadder.
It would be a hell of a lot sadder.
Yeah.
So we appreciate everyone. I sometimes forget that people listen to this.
Yeah, so do I.
We just like put it out into the ether and then
I'm like, oh, people are listening.
oh crap.
We can say now we're in the hundreds. It's not a high hundreds, but we are in the hundreds now, usually for listeners for episodes, which is way more than I thought we were gonna do when we started this thing.
No.
And not that I'm like looking at numbers, but it's very fun and cool to see that there's other Reign fans out there that care about this team in a way that we do. I think that's more of what it is for me. Because I'm really passionate about the team, and I just want to spread that joy and camaraderie and misery when we're in the misery together. Have that together makes it feel a lot more nice.
Yeah, it makes you feel connected in a way that I don't know that I would, especially during this season. I don't know that I would have felt as unified with other people without this platform.
Yeah, it's been tough.
It's been tough. So
but not as tough as it could be.
Better things.
Yeah, here's to better things. Thanks to all of you. Thanks once again to the doctor's office. Doctor's office is the best place to grab a drink before or after a Reign match. Stop by today and try the non-alcoholic celery shrub cocktail. Celery juice and apple cider vinegar steep for 2 days with a dozen spices. Then it gets strained and topped with Como, a non-alcoholic soda made in the style of an Italian Amaro, making it one of the loveliest things you can order at TDO. Check out their Instagram at TDO Seattle, or better yet, go drink there in person.
Cheers.
Cheers. Should we move on from the Reign and go into some other NWSL stuff?
Yeah. Did you watch the Bay game?
No, I just saw the highlight of.
Oh man, Paige
man.
Nielsen get absolutely wrecked.
And what is that move called? Where they jump on top of the ball with both feet? Kundananji just fucking embarrassed the shit out of Paige Nielsen. She's in hiding now. She lives in a cave. She's in hiding because she just got embarrassed in a way I have never seen someone embarrassed in the NWSL.
It was insane. Kundananji just like standing there in the corner and just like hops on top of the ball and both feet standing on top of the ball and then pops down and then just absolutely wrecks Paige Nielsen. Insane.
It was amazing because I've never seen anybody do that. I was saying like Bay is probably like the one team that was kind of skirting into the playoffs maybe that I like hated the least. That stands true after this move.
I had the pleasure of going to a Bay FC game at their stadium. I had a great time. I thoroughly enjoyed myself, so I don't hate them.
I don't know that they're gonna win.
That is
but if
I'm
they can
happy for them. Like they're one of the few expansion teams, right, who have qualified for the playoffs in their first season. So congrats to them, and I'm so happy that you did it that way.
Yeah, thank God, because like had Houston, this was the team that was behind us. If Houston would have won, it would have been bad for us. So thank you, Bay. Thank you, Bay. The other thing that happened in the league, San Diego, we've talked about this many times.
Fire.
What the fuck is going on with their field? They had to relocate their final home match of the season,
which was supposed to be their like fan appreciation match.
Nothing like saying fan appreciation, like fuck you.
Yeah.
our field fucking sucks, so we're just gonna have to go to Louisville.
Yeah, we're gonna have to play an away game when we should have had a home game because our field conditions are so terrible. On top of the trash fire that is their front office and Jill Ellis being sued.
It's not good there. Vibes are bad. If Naomi Gurman's looking for a new place, Seattle's great.
Happy to have you.
Yeah, Seattle's
happy
great.
to have you. Mm-hmm.
They did win though.
They did.
Which like Louisville, you kind of got handed like a little, like they were fighting for a playoff spot and they kind of got handed this gift of being able
playing
to playing a home game, and they still lost, and they lost pretty badly. The only goal they got was Bethany Balser, but then SD put up 3 on them. So
yeah,
yikes.
Yeah, Louisville missed out on playoffs by 4 points.
Yeah, so it wouldn't have been enough, but you know, you got to take care of business at home. If you get a home game out of nowhere like that, especially against a dumpster fire organization at the moment, like the Wave.
Yeah, you really just need to take care of business, and they didn't do that.
No. For a team that was, I don't know, obviously I'm a little want to rub it in people's faces, but like a team that was, you know, bragging about trying to get players to like make their playoff push and stuff like that, it didn't work out. This was kind of an interesting thing that I saw, but 6 of the 8 playoff teams that are, you know, now officially in the playoffs, 6 of the 8 won their final regular season match. So they really just made us below everyone who's below the playoff line feel like even more like dog shit than we already do.
Yeah.
And the only teams that lost that were in the playoff spots that they played like other teams that are already in the playoffs. So it's kind of like so
Yeah, there wasn't a ton of movement.
not a ton of movement, and the bad teams just proved they're bad.
Chicago going into the playoffs, Chicago has to play Orlando.
Woof.
Yeah.
I don't. But Mal Pugh.
I know.
Mallory Swanson. Sorry, I love that name, Mal Pugh. Though I don't know. Could Swanson show up and Nair show up in a way?
Yeah, Chicago's kind of a dark horse, I feel like.
Yeah.
They have the players. They just
Yeah.
haven't been getting the results. So I don't know.
I think this is probably a good game to watch, especially because the other games are all early, really early. So if you want an evening game, this is literally the only evening game you can get if you're on the West Coast.
Yeah, the Friday 5 p.m. Amazon Prime game.
Yeah, because after that, the next game we got for the playoffs, we got KC Current versus the Courage, and that game's at 9 a.m. West Coast time on Saturday on CBS, which like great with CBS, but like 9 a.m. Once again, we're still kind of not getting past
So it's
that.
just like a noon game for them.
Yeah, we're not getting past that problem though that we have with the NWSL playoffs not being taken seriously.
Okay, at least none of the games are overlapping.
At least there's that.
Because then you got Spirit, Washington Spirit playing Bay
You've
on
kind of
Sunday.
you kind of got a close call maybe though with that one.
Yeah,
We'll see if that
that's at
stays
9:30 a.m. on Sunday the 10th.
But you know the stoppage time in these NWSL games can be like hours.
I know.
So hopefully there's no overlap, but there could be.
I will be rooting for Gotham over the Thorns.
Yeah, that's
Can they both lose?
I'm always when it comes to those situations, I'm always like, how do we make the game look like it was a complete joke? So like at that point, I'm rooting for the refs.
Yeah.
And I want the refs to fuck up the game so bad that everyone is just like, this game, it was a joke. No, there was no winners. We're all losers. That's what I'm rooting for. I want bad penalty calls. I want the ball went out, but we weren't sure, but there was a goal anyways, and we're just gonna call it. Or like a missed tackle somewhere. Give me that. Give me that all day. Should we do predictions?
Oh, we can do that.
All right, let's do some playoff predictions.
All right, so who do you got in Chicago, Orlando?
It's in Orlando. I'm taking Orlando.
I'm taking Orlando too. KC against North Carolina.
I'm taking KC.
Yeah, I can't root against Chewinga.
No. I think
Or I guess put my money on a team that's playing against Chewinga.
well, and Courage have been bad on the road.
Yeah.
So yeah. And the finals in KC, so I feel like they're really fighting to be a home team in that final.
Spirit Bay.
I'm taking Bay, I think.
I think that they're feeling it.
I don't know if Trinity Rodman. This is my whole like if Trinity Rodman is on it, I think they got it. But I think we'll see. But I think this might be my one. I think I'm gonna pick Bay. I'm just to kind of stir it up.
I would have to agree with you on that one. It really depends on Trinity Rodman.
Yeah.
And if she shows up or not.
Yeah.
Gotham Thorns.
Gotham.
Easy.
Yeah, easy. Thorns are not great, and Gotham are destroying people in ways that should scare everybody. I think
that one might be a blowout.
I'm hoping it's a blowout.
Yeah.
A very biased blowout.
Very biased blowout. Yeah, so these games are this weekend, and then the final will be when is the final?
I don't know. We got semis and then we got final.
Yeah.
We'll see. I don't know if we're gonna do an episode. Maybe we'll do one for I don't know.
Yeah, we can pop on and do maybe right before the final.
Sure. Talk about what's happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can do that. Wrap up the season with that.
So we'll be back in a couple weeks. Anybody want to shout out?
Not America. Not America. My dog. Shout out my dog who's shouting out. Molly, stop it. Stop it.
Bro.
Yeah, I don't have anything else. I'm looking forward to next season. This is our last rain episode though.
Yeah.
For this year. We'll see if we can get some interesting stuff. But this is also a lot of work.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna enjoy our break, I think. for a little bit at least. Get through the holidays. See if anything interesting pops up, we'll talk about it. But
At least Sounders are making a run.
yeah, shout out Sounders.
Yeah.
They
Good
won
job, guys.
2 penalties, but I'll take it. What's that other? Is that game like the?
The other games aren't till like the 23rd or
Oh,
something.
fuck the MLS, man. They have their fucking international breaks and bullshit.
Yeah, that 3-match thing just absolutely screwed them.
Yeah, the thing that screwed them is the goddamn Leagues Cup.
Yeah.
So not shout out the MLS. You got any shout outs?
Nope. Not shouting out America.
Definitely not. Not shouting out Twitter anymore either.
Nope.
I'm on Bluesky now. I've been on
Me too.
Bluesky, but if you wanna pop over to Bluesky, we're on there. I'm at my normal handle, the tallest Coop. Van's on there.
Same thing, Van Crisp.
Go follow us there. We can get that party going over there. We're on Instagram. Instagram handle is Cooler Guild Pod. I don't know if that'll be continuing much longer either. But I'll be on there. I'll get some posts up until people decide that it's also the devil. You can also send us an email. We love an email. Email is thecoolerguild@gmail.com. If you got any ideas too that you want to maybe see for next season, feel free to send them there.
Yeah, you can always find us at our home site, sounderatheart.com/Cooler Guild. Rate the podcast 5 stars. Leave us a message.
Yep. Till next time, I'm Coop.
Till next time, yep. In this trash hole. I'm Van.
Bye.
Bye.
Celery juice and apple cider. Oh, I'm having a hard time saying apple cider vinegar. It's the problem.